Hey, Mom. Dad's saying something. Harvey stated this while looking at Jonathan's memorial portrait. Of course, the portrait remains motionless. Harvey's spiritual sense must have been activated again. Harvey, stop it. Come play with Mom. Okay, over here. But that's very angry, he said. This person pushed me onto the road. We couldn't believe who Harvey pointed at. My name is Lauren. I am a housewife in my 60s. I currently live on the top floor of a tower apartment with my husband. I enjoy the view from this room while sipping freshly brewed tea and eating sweets. In the morning, sunlight shines brightly, and at night, we can enjoy a stunning view. I never imagined we could live like this. I am extremely grateful to you at times like this. People typically hold a champagne glass and eat cheese while admiring the night view. But for us, tea and sweets are ideal. Ha ha ha. We haven't always had this idyllic life. We were only recently able to. My husband, who is now the president of a major company, had a difficult journey to get there. We married in our 20s, but both came from humble beginnings. We had to make our own living. My husband worked late every night, so I took a part-time job as an office cleaner. Between raising our son and making ends meet, I apologize for the difficulties. I will make things easier for you one day. Let's hang in there. It quote s okay. I will support you. Let us do our best together. Even in such circumstances, we lived with consideration for one another. Buying and sharing sweets was our small luxury during those difficult times. 8 years ago, our hard work paid off. My husband, who is naturally talented at his work, was promoted to director. He then left the company to start his own business and realize his dream of becoming president. Despite his busy schedule, he now takes proper days off and we spend time together. Our relationship remains positive. Recently, my husband has discussed a successor. Given his age, he hopes to leave the company to our only son in the future. One day, while I was doing dishes, my phone rang. Wiping my hands quickly, I responded and saw my son's name displayed. Hello, Mom. It has been a while. How are you? Thank you. I'm fine. You rarely call. Actually, I have a person I want to marry. May I bring her to meet you? The little boy I once knew had grown up and was ready to start a family. It was good news, and I was relieved. Congratulations. Of course you can. I am looking forward to it. I was nervous when my son brought his fiancée, unable to calm down. What should I wear? Does she drink coffee or tea? My husband laughed and attempted to calm me down. Calm down. The doorbell rang as I was hurrying to finish my preparations. I'm home. Soon, my son and his fiancée entered the house. Nice to meet you. I quote Mia. Here's a small gift for you. Mia handed us a paper bag containing famous confectionaries. Oh, thank you. Let us enjoy them together. This tea will complement these sweets. I mentioned making tea while talking to myself. Mia appeared to be a graceful woman with an elegant speaking style and manners. She worked for a major corporation and intends to continue working after marriage to help share the burden. Jonathan, she is a wonderful person. Please stop. Harry, Dad, Mom, next time please meet Mia's family. Yes, Mia, please care for him. We happily blessed their marriage, and they were overjoyed. From there, things moved quickly with family gatherings and the wedding. Mia had a family of 4, her parents and sister. Mia's elegant demeanor suggested that they were a well-established and respectable family. Her sister, who had run a business for many years, was also a career woman. I'm overjoyed that my sister found a wonderful person. I want a happy family too. Work is my current boyfriend. Mia's family was easy to talk to, and I felt we'd make good in-laws. Following her parents' wishes to celebrate their eldest daughter's special day in style. The wedding had 300 guests, but it was expensive. We wanted to celebrate our son just as much, so we agreed to their plan. Jonathan and Mia's faces lit up as they were surrounded by family and friends. Because of you, I became a mother-in-law, and now I want to be a grandmother to Mom. We just married. It's too early for that. Thinking about the grandchildren we may have someday. I was excited. Jonathan and Mia welcomed a child 2 years later, whom they named Harvey. He was our first grandchild and very special to us. Harvey. It's Grandpa Harvey. This is your Auntie Natalie. Harvey was idolized by everyone. His presence alone brightened the scene. During summer vacations and New Year's, Jonathan and Mia frequently brought Harvey to visit Mia's family. and spending time with Harvey and playing with him became something I anticipated. Harvey grew up in a loving and nurturing environment. However, when Harvey turned 3, he suddenly began asking, "What's wrong? Why are you leaving Harvey? There is no one there. Come back here." Harvey would walk to the empty balcony and speak with someone. I brought him back. His actions have left me puzzled. I asked Mia about it. "Hey, does this happen frequently? Seeing things that don't exist?" "Yes, it's been happening more recently. I was concerned and took him to the hospital. However, the doctor said there was nothing wrong. I've heard that children with high spiritual sensitivity may behave like this. We just need to keep an eye on him." Harvey was very close to us, but his strange behavior made me uncomfortable. I had no idea that Harvey's mysterious ability would lead to a specific incident later on. One night, Lauren, something terrible happened. He shook me awake in the middle of the night and I sat up groggily. "What is it? What is wrong at this hour?" "Mia has just called. Jonathan was in a car accident and is currently in critical condition. What?" I can't remember much after that. I somehow found myself in the hospital, rushing to Jonathan's room. But Jonathan had already passed away. "Jonathan, please do not leave Harvey and me. Please." My husband and I stood there stunned, unable to believe what was happening. Mia cried as she hugged Harvey and held Jonathan's hand. After a while, the reality of the situation hit me, and I felt overwhelmed with sadness. "No way. Jonathan, open your eyes. Jonathan." I cried in my husband's arms until my eyes dried. He too cried out loudly, as I had never seen before. Since then, I've been unable to do anything and have spent most of my time at home. Initially, everyone was distraught, unable to eat or sleep properly. But as sad as it was, time passed, and those around me gradually recovered. Nonetheless, my heart remained hollow. My husband attempted to take me for walks, and Mia and Harvey came to check on me, but I was unable to move forward. Time has passed, leaving me behind. Before I knew it, we had reached Jonathan's first death anniversary. Time flies, doesn't it? It seems like only yesterday that Jonathan was here, beaming with joy. The memorial service went off without a hitch, and I had the opportunity to speak with my parents and Natalie, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. It must have been difficult to lose such a wonderful young man, but I'm confident he's watching over us from above. Perhaps so. He was a very bright child. If there is anything we can do, please let us know. Thank you. Mia, however, is suffering the most. Mia gazed at Jonathan's portrait. "No, but the time Jonathan, Harvey, and I spent together was truly wonderful. Jonathan was the type of person who would hug Harvey and me every day. He was a wonderful person, wasn't he? You're fortunate to have been so loved," as it could have been the first time since the wedding that everyone smiled so broadly in the peaceful atmosphere. My heart began to feel a little lighter. Then, Harvey began acting strangely. He would stare intently at Jonathan's portrait before looking around restlessly. "That's correct." Harvey muttered something to himself. "Harvey? Hey, Mom, Dad's saying something." Harvey stated this while looking at the portrait. Of course, Jonathan's portrait remains unchanged. I assumed it was simply Harvey's sixth sense acting up again. "Harvey, stop it! Why don't you come over here to play with Mommy?" "Yes, but Dad is very angry." "Angry?" "Jonathan is angry. Harvey, what's making your father angry?" Then Harvey stood up and approached someone. In that moment, he spoke unbelievable words. He claims it was this person who pushed him into the road. We couldn't believe who Harvey was pointing at. "What?" "It was Natalie, Mia's younger sister." "Wait, stop joking, Harvey. What are you saying? Come on, let us go play somewhere else. No, I will not. Dad says I shouldn't approach Natalie. He claims she did it." Harvey spoke clearly and firmly. The tranquil atmosphere was shattered, and everyone's gaze turned to Natalie. "Natalie, what's going on? Please stop. Harvey, please don't make such a joke. Everyone, it's only a child's words. Do not believe him, okay? I don't feel good. I'm leaving." Natalie fled because she couldn't take the situation anymore. "Natalie, please wait. What is this about?" I couldn't understand what was going on. Everyone there ran after Natalie. We spent hours looking for Natalie and couldn't find her. We searched the nearby park around her house and called her phone several times, but there was no response. By late afternoon, we noticed a small crowd gathering along the riverbank. Natalie was in the crowd. "Stop! Please let go of me." As we approached, we noticed several police officers encircling Natalie. One of the officers noticed us and jogged over. "Excuse me, that is my sister." "What's happening?" "We've arrested Natalie on suspicion of murder." What an exclamation and question mark. Jonathan's death, which was ruled a traffic accident, had always raised suspicions that the police had also been investigating. The accident happened late at night with few witnesses, but discrepancies in the driver's account and dashcam analysis raised concerns beneath the surface. The police had been investigating Jonathan's accident as a possible crime, and Natalie had now been arrested as the suspect. She had been under police surveillance for quite some time. "I did not do it. Let me go." Her parents could only watch as she was taken away by the police while struggling. It felt surreal to see Natalie taken away right in front of our eyes, like a bad dream. We were emotionally drained following Natalie's arrest. Jonathan died. Natalie's arrest. So much had happened over the last year. It was difficult to believe Natalie, from our own family, was the perpetrator. During questioning, Natalie reportedly stated, "When my sister first introduced me to Jonathan, I wanted him to. I kept telling him to date me instead of my sister, but he never listened. So I wanted him gone." Her crime was motivated by jealousy towards Mia. Knowing this fact left Mia completely exhausted and mentally drained. She had lost her husband to her own sister, who was currently in police custody. Natalie continued to remain silent on any additional details. And as time passed, we were left with no further answers. Despite the dark cloud that hung over both families, we had to move forward. Eventually, people stopped discussing the incident. One day, while we were relaxing in the living room, my husband spoke up. We're both approaching our 70s. I had hoped Jonathan would take over my position, but I believe it is time to pass the CEO torch to the next generation and enjoy a more relaxed lifestyle together. What are your thoughts? You are still full of energy. But yes, we have gone through a lot. Perhaps a more relaxed lifestyle isn't a bad idea. My husband, who has always been strong, must have been exhausted as well. We agreed that he would step down from the front lines and hand over the company to his successor. A year later, Harry, "I will do my best starting today. Yes, Mia, please take care of everything." That's correct. Mia had assumed the role of CEO to mark the transition. My husband and I, along with Mia and Harvey, began living together. "Lauren, thank you so much for caring for Harvey. It's a big help." "That's fine. You'll be busy with the company now, correct?" "We're happy to spend time with Harvey, so you can count on us as much as you need. Thank you." Mia was consumed with guilt after Jonathan's death and Natalie's arrest, and she was always eager to help us. When she learned about my husband's retirement, she offered to become CEO. Despite internal objections, my husband's strong recommendation secured Mia's position. Mia worked tirelessly every day, while my husband and I cared for Harvey. It felt like a second round of parenting for us. Grandpa and Grandma, I have a sports day coming up, so please come and watch. "Oh, seriously? Then I'll make a lunchbox full of your favorite foods to cheer you on." "Yeah, make sure you include the omelet. I also have a dance performance." "Do you think I will be able to dance?" Well, those conversations were such enjoyable moments. Mia, who had become CEO, worked hard, and my husband commented, "I'm glad I entrusted the company to Mia. Now I can actually retire." The company stabilized, and my husband was finally able to unwind. However, the happiness did not last long. Mia began coming home late every night, spending her weekends away, and we rarely saw her. We told Mia we wished she would stay at home more often, but she always refused. "I apologize. I have a client meeting, so I will be late. I'll be away on business for 3 days, so please take care of Harvey." She abandoned Harvey with us and never spent time with him. She frequently came home drunk. "Mia, you are drinking too much. You need to be more cautious." "That's fine. I was entertaining clients. It is part of the job." She slurred her words, and my husband and I could only sigh. On a company holiday, Harvey's strange murmurs reappeared. We were relaxing in the living room. "Dad, don't be angry. Don't be mad at Mom," Harvey replied, pressing his ears and furrowing his brow in distress. "Harvey, have you heard Jonathan's voice again?" "Yeah. Dad is very angry, but I don't understand what he's saying. Perhaps he's upset because Mom comes home drunk every night. I was joking. No, not that. Harvey cheerfully replied, Dad is scary. Jonathan was angry. I had a feeling that something bad was going to happen again. With that intuition, I called the detective agency, suspecting something was wrong with Mia's recent behavior, and asked for an investigation into her actions. Travel and dining destinations. A week later, I received the investigation's findings. The results were shocking. Mia was not performing her duties as president. She was embezzling company funds for her personal affairs. She stayed in luxury hotels with men under the guise of business trips, charging everything to the company card. She purchased branded items and spent lavishly at host clubs every night. She also sent company money to her parents, who lived lavishly in new homes and cars. Mia's parents, who were supposed to run a business, had essentially abandoned it since she became president. Harvey's murmurs had exposed the truth. I summoned Mia today. I'm busy with meetings, so please make it quick. I showed her the results of the investigation. What is the significance of this? Oh, I've been found out. Fine, I will tell you everything. Mia acknowledged the truth with a creepy smile. I married Jonathan because of the money. He was supposed to become the next president. But Jonathan was too laid back, with no signs of becoming president anytime soon. So I decided to become president instead. Mia then unveiled something even more unbelievable. I also told Natalie to do what she did. I didn't expect her to be caught, but she took responsibility for protecting me. That is the truth. My rage reached its peak. What do you think about Jonathan? This is the lowest. Jonathan died because of you. You are the lowest, displaying your wealth and lavish lifestyle. I grew up poor, so I deserve to enjoy this. My parents are pleased. I was enraged by Mia's lack of guilt. Your family is extremely selfish, killing Jonathan for personal gain. You are not human. We've all been scarred by this. It is your responsibility to protect yourself from deception. You are worse than I imagined. Jonathan is pitiful. Mia, you are no longer family. You will resign as president immediately. I will inform the company later. Get out now. I'll call the cops. Never come back. Pay for your sins. Mia laughed maniacally as my husband and I turned her over to the cops. The police soon arrived and arrested Mia. Her parents were also arrested after accepting the company's money. Our family fell into Mia's trap. We lost both our son and the company's money. Harvey lost both of his parents. He witnessed his mother being taken away by the police. Seeing Harvey's pain, my husband and I promised to protect him no matter what. Several years later, despite his misfortunes, Harvey grew into a kind and gentle child. Grandpa? Grandma? Let's take a photograph over there. Sure. How about underneath this cherry tree? Today was Harvey's middle school entrance ceremony. My husband and I officially became Harvey's guardians, and we now live peacefully as a family of 3. Harvey's strange murmurs ended years ago. We look forward to a bright future with him. If anything happens, I'm hoping he murmurs again, so we can achieve our happiness together. How did you like the story? Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video. I quote D. Like to question your father about a mugging incident. Mugging? My father, yes. Your father is suspected of mugging. Is he home now? Yes, he is here. Would you like to see him? The police officer looked perplexed by my tone for a moment, but then said, Please let me see him. So I led the police officer into the house and opened the door. My dad is here. The police officer was astounded to see my father there. This happened a few months ago. My name is James. I'm a 4th-year university student. I've decided to work for a major corporation, but there's still something I'm unsure about, whether to take over my father's business. My father is the president of a small factory. When I was younger, I aspired to take over the factory and become president, like my father. But that feeling faded as I entered my rebellious phase. My father's work clothes were always stained with oil, which made me feel embarrassed. That feeling persisted even after I became a teenager. Even now, after becoming an adult and working part-time jobs, I have developed a deep respect for my father, who worked hard while supporting many employees and their families. But I couldn't shake the impression that a salaryman who wears a suit and works hard is cooler than my father. When we were shopping with my father one day, we were suddenly called out from behind James, so my father and I turned around together. There was a man my father's age, Jack. I haven't seen you in a long time. This Jack person was apparently my father's high school classmate. Jack, who was dressed in a suit, happened to be on an outside sales trip. After revealing that he worked for a well-known large corporation, Jack asked my father, "Did you take over the family business?" After all. "Oh, that's correct. We are still managing that dirty little factory of yours. You've accomplished a lot as president, and you are only a high school graduate. That is impossible. You're really pathetic." I was astounded by Jack's words. That factory was founded by my grandfather, and my father is from the second generation. I was aware he had taken over after graduating from high school, but I never imagined a classmate would make fun of him like that. Jack continued to smile silently at my father. "So, did you expand your father's factory? In high school, you promised to take over the company and expand it. Unfortunately, I had no business sense. That dream did not come true. Haha, you couldn't help it. You have good hands, but your head isn't very good. But it is a good thing you did not go bankrupt. I assumed guys like you were going bankrupt." Jack laughed heartily and slapped my father on the shoulder before stating, "I have more work to do. So, let's catch up at the next reunion before leaving." My father, who had been talked down to, looked awkward and said, "Should we go?" before walking away to continue shopping. At the time, I felt that my father's work was being mocked without any response from me. The decision between taking over my father's company and continuing to work for a well-known large corporation leaned heavily towards the latter. A few weeks later, my father's alumni association happened by chance. It was held in the bar where I worked part-time. The place was packed with customers that day, and I didn't have many opportunities to bring food and drinks to the table where my father's alumni association was meeting. I thought I was lucky, but I eventually got to go to that table. I was slightly embarrassed about bringing drinks to my father's alumni association, but I kept quiet because it was my job. Our bar offers private rooms. When I arrived at the table where my father's alumni association was meeting in one of the large rooms rented for the occasion, my father, who happened to be near the entrance and exit, responded with a smile. "Oh, James, are you his son?" My father was questioned by the woman next to him. He then introduced me as his son. I greeted them politely and arranged the drinks on the table. My eyes are exactly like my father's, and I am just as serious as he is. My dad's drunken classmates teased me, and I laughed awkwardly. Jack, who was sitting at a table slightly away from us, noticed us and said, "We met recently too, James, right? Are you planning on taking over your father's small factory?" I replied honestly, "No." I'm still thinking about Jack's question, and with an alcoholic breath that disgusted me, he shouted, "Stop it! Your father's business is nothing special. James should work for, rather than take over, a company like mine." He then began bragging about his career accomplishments, but something felt off. When we first met, he said he worked in sales, but now he says he is the head of accounting. I had a feeling something was wrong, but I kept quiet because I didn't want to cause any problems. My father's mouth, however, became lighter as he drank. "Has your department changed since our last meeting?" "It hasn't been long since our last meeting, a few weeks back. Was this an urgent transfer? Did sales not suit you?" When Jack heard my father's words, he stopped talking. Jack looked flustered and nodded, saying, "Yes, that's correct. Sales were not for me. I was promoted to head of accounting as soon as I transferred. That's strange. Didn't that company get absorbed by a foreign company, with its accounting department based abroad?" As my father pointed out, the company that Jack boasted about had been acquired by a foreign company. Many people had noticed this, but hadn't mentioned it until my father did. My father's remark was met with a burst of laughter. "Hey, Jack, what's going on? Are you truly the head of accounting? Even if you were acquired by another company? Shut up, can't you see I'm at this party?" Jack, who had been laughed at, trembled with regret and said, "I'll go home," before leaving with heavy footsteps. People around him assured my father that he had done nothing wrong, so Jack must have always been like this. Seeing my father praised for what he said, rather than mocked, made me happy, even though he was drunk. When my father told me what everyone else had discovered, he remained composed. Difficult to say. It's been half a year since then. I still spend days debating whether or not to take over my father's business. My confusion has only grown with each passing day, and I honestly don't know what to do. One day, while I was relaxing at home, the intercom rang. Since my mother was not present, I went to the entrance. Yes. Hello. You are James? The visitor said this while dressed in uniform. I responded with a stiff voice. Yes. I was surprised, and wondered if I had done something wrong. When the police officer spoke about the purse snatching incident, there is something I would like to ask your father. Purse snatching? My father? Yes. Your father is suspected of stealing purses. Is your father at home now? Yes, he's here. But would you like to see him? The police officer looked perplexed by my tone for a moment, but then said, Please let me see him. So I welcomed the police officer into my home and opened the door to the room. My dad is here. There was a Buddhist altar and a photo of my father. When I told the police officer that my father had died in a traffic accident, he went into shock. I apologize for your loss, said the police officer. I asked him, My father is not the type of person who steals purses. Who suspects my father of snatching purses? I can't tell you because it is private information. I apologize for bothering you today. After several apologies, the police officer left. I wasn't sure who had accused my father of purse snatching, but I quickly found out. A few days later, I was working at my father's factory, filling the void left by his absence. My mother is now taking over for my father, but she is already in her 50s and can only help with his work in small ways to fill his void. I was helping out at the factory when Jack barged in. Take me to your father. Return whatever he stole. The factory was making a lot of noise with its large machines. But Jack yelled with a voice that could not be drowned out by the noise. I was surprised by Jack's voice. But I wasn't alone. I spoke with Jack as the other employees stopped working and were surprised. My father is not here, then at home. Call him out immediately. I'm having trouble because your father took something from me. I overheard one of the employees say, Purse snatching. Is this our president? But Jack crossed his arms and refused to move. He kept shouting, Give me your father. In response, I questioned him. My father is not the type of person who steals purses. Are you certain you aren't mistaken? No, it was definitely your father. He must have been envious of me working for a large corporation and stole my bag. Fortunately, I didn't have my wallet or anything on me at the time, but it is unforgivable that he stole something in the first place. The police are useless. So I came here myself to speak with him. When did this occur? Exactly. It was about 2 weeks ago that Jack responded decisively. After a brief pause, the employees began to stir. I guess the commotion confused them. When I asked Jack again if it was really 2 weeks ago, he became angry with me for being persistent. He began shouting loudly. What's happening? You keep asking me. I mentioned it was 2 weeks ago. An elite like myself traveled all the way to this small and smelly factory just for this. Hurry up and let me speak with your father. As Jack made a fuss, I felt my chest get hot. He didn't just make disparaging remarks about my father's workplace or his colleagues' work. What bothered me the most was that he was trying to blame my father for the purse snatching. My father died in a traffic accident 1 month ago and cannot be present, I told him clearly. Jack appeared to have swallowed a pigeonhole and said, I continued, How could my father snatch purses after he died 1 month ago? Perhaps there was no purse snatching at all. I knew Jack was lying because at our recent class reunion, I discovered that he had been a liar since school. Furthermore, It turned out that Jack had been jealous of my father since they were in school because the girl he liked preferred my father. Because of such petty jealousy, he had always harbored an unnecessary rivalry with my father. I couldn't forgive Jack for making an unfounded accusation against my deceased father out of petty jealousy, so he snatched purses right before he died. Jack continued to insist on his claim. Someone else began shouting from another direction. Our president would not do something like that. Our president dresses professionally and walks around like an honest person. Yes, the president teaches technology and encourages independence, which is why we are always short-handed. He was a good person who prioritized the needs of his employees and business partners over profit. As Jack trembled, voices praising his father rose one by one. I was genuinely moved. I felt ashamed of myself for finding my father's work embarrassing. My father was a president who was respected by his staff and loved enough to deserve protection. Even in this situation. When Jack heard the factory workers' voices defending my father, his eyes welled up with tears. I dealt the final blow. The fact that you attempted to frame my father for a lie. I'll definitely consult with the police. With that, Jack raised his voice and fled the factory. Afterward, I went to the police, as promised, to report that Jack had falsely accused my father. The evidence was a recording of Jack's statement made by a staff member who was considerate enough to record the argument at the time. Because of this, there was evidence left. The police acted quickly because there was evidence, and Jack was apprehended in no time. Jack's lie about accusing someone of a crime became his own crime, which landed him in jail for a while. He had insulted my father while he was alive and attempted to frame him, even after his death. I felt relieved that he received what he deserved. A few days later, someone claiming to be Jack's wife arrived at our house with a gift box to apologize to me and my mother. When I asked Jack's wife if it was because of what happened at the reunion that he had framed my father, she sighed and said, "Yes. It appears that he was hurt during the reunion. Actually, Jack was an elite who had been let go from his company. He had been looking for work, but things didn't go well. That's when he met me, and my father, Jack, who was obsessed with being part of the elite, lied. But when he got drunk, he told inconsistent lies, embarrassing himself. He started to resent my father and decided to frame him. I was disgusted by his ridiculous explanation for lying. However, it appeared that Jack's wife felt the same way. She told me she planned to divorce him. Jack appeared to have no children, so even if he got out of jail, no one would be waiting for him. After I graduated from college, I decided to take over my father's business. One reason was that I was concerned about the company's management, as my father had recently passed away. Another reason was that I couldn't stop hearing the voices of the staff members who had protected my father. Jack lied about him. I aspired to be a president who is loved and respected by staff members like them. That incident marked a turning point for me. Because I attended the Faculty of Business Administration, I was able to handle the aspects of management that my father struggled with. But I had to learn about technology from the staff. The staff members taught me many things, as if it were for his son. They also told me several stories about my father. Every time they did this, I realized how wonderful my father was. Dad, you were so cool. I'm sorry I didn't realize it while you were alive. I'm truly sorry. I spoke with his portrait after work. I am covered in oil stains. It's embarrassing to admit that I once thought this was uncool. This dirt is proof of my father's hard work. I will do my best to become president like you, and I will certainly make your dream come true. I spoke to his portrait again and felt as if my father smiled. I will work hard from now on to become a president like him. I want to realize my father's dream of expanding the town factory, which has been passed down from my grandfather's generation.